Hi, we're coming to you from Vectors 2019 here in Orlando. Joining me on the program is Bernard Breton from Adaptiv Networks. Bernard, welcome.
Thank you very much, and it's great to be at that show. Actually, it's first time for us at Vectors. There's a lot of people, and we've seen an amazingly relevant crowd to our technologies. I believe that SD-WAN is ready for its prime time, and we're very glad to be here to talk about that.
Excellent, great, and glad to have you here. So, you mentioned being here at the SkySwitch user conference. You recently announced your relationship with SkySwitch. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we did announce it about a month ago at the Channel Partner Evolution show in Washington, and here we're truly launching the partnership in earnest with the SkySwitch community. The key about this partnership is that it really is about two things. It's about services that are really adding value one to another. When it comes to the idea of moving the communication services, voice and in the cloud, suddenly the access to that digital service is of paramount importance. And that's really what SD-WAN does. It really allows you to create that unbreakable internet access or digital service access, which then becomes foundational for the delivery of great UCaaS to your customers. So we believe that this marriage is really creating a lot of value, both for the end customers as well as for the reseller community of SkySwitch. But furthermore, I would like to add something about SkySwitch and sort of the relationship we've had so far with them, is that we also believe, and I certainly in my career, and starting to be a fairly long career, I believe that it's very important to have people that see things the same way, people that think alike. And that's really one thing that's been great about SkySwitch, is that we do really have the same vision on how to establish a partnership. And we are a 100% partner-oriented organization. We do not sell direct, which means we do not create competition in the ecosystem of SkySwitch. So again, there we're removing friction point. And one word that we use a lot is we talk about frictionless SD-WAN, but we believe that it's not only about provisioning, it's also about how you sell, how you market, and how you engage with your ecosystem. And that's part of that. I think that it makes a whole lot of sense.
So you mentioned having some similarities between Adaptiv and SkySwitch. How does that reflect on the customer base, and how do your collective customer bases play with one another?
Yeah, so SkySwitch primary customer base is SMB and mid-market. And that's also our primary customer base. We focus on, in a broad stroke, if I was to describe the market, essentially we have the large enterprises which have a fairly complex IT stack, lots of legacy in that market, in that IT stack, right? Legacy applications, legacy network, and a geographical dispersion of the network that makes it very complex. So whatever is the one solution they will deploy, it will be highly bespoke to their needs, right? Typically system integrators, and they'll be looking for something that's going to be deployed over like months, if not years. We don't play in that market at all. We play in a market whereby the end customer has no or low skills at the branch. So they're looking for something that's going to give them the goods, which is that unbreakable access to those digital services without the complexity. And in the market of SkySwitch, that's exactly their market. So again, there's a lot of, it makes a lot of sense in terms of the end customers, the typical end customer that they have. I think it just works.
So, you mentioned that it's a very different market than that large enterprise space, but is it a market that is truly ready for SD-WAN?
Yeah, no, so that's a great question, because that's probably one of the reasons why some SD-WAN vendors, the bigger SD-WAN vendors, really don't focus on that market. But it's a market that's more price sensitive, and we all know that in the IT space, smaller customers spend more on IT because they don't have economies of scale. Fortune 500 pay 3 to 3.5% of their revenue in IT. Small businesses, 5 to 7%. So there's less room, and also the revenue per branch, whatever they are, is less, right? So the cost to deliver at the branch needs to be low, and the IT stacks need to be as cost effective as can be. Now, when it comes to our solution, it is engineered to be both simple, but also inexpensive. Now, is it more expensive than an internet connection? Of course it is, because it's on top of the internet connection. So you need the internet connection, and then on top of that fabric, you get the SD-WAN. But things, for example, that we do is that we only put at the edge, in terms of software, the functionality that are needed at the edge. That's why we operate our network, allowing us to keep an edge device that's fairly low priced, allowing us to have that great upgradability potential in terms of bandwidth without having to replace the edge device, which is one of the most non-frictionless things, is to have truck rolls to deploy new sites and to replace devices. There's cost with that, significant cost, actually more than the device often, but also it's disturbing the end customer, so it's not frictionless, it's frictionful. So we are doing everything we can to deliver high quality SD-WAN services at a reasonable price point. And that doesn't mean that all customers will jump on the bandwagon. I think some are still going to take years to get there. That's also why we introduced a new product called the SD Edge product, which is just essentially a branch router, similar to a lot of branch routers that are available out there. And it's not about us really entering the branch router market. It's to say, you are not ready now. You might be ready in a year or in 2 years. Install our branch router so that when it's time to do that, it will be one less truck roll. It'll just be a click of a button in an orchestrator, in our cloud orchestrator. So again, it's part of making that journey to SD-WAN as simple as it can be.
And for your relationship purposes, it gets you in the door, starts building that relationship with the customer so that when they are ready, you're going to be that trusted advisor that they come to.
Absolutely, and there are some features in our Edge router, which is really on our SD Edge product, which is actually really nice, is that you still get the entire network monitoring and alerting platform of our SD-WAN. So you still have that cloud orchestration, so we still have the full-fledged cloud orchestration that comes with the SD-WAN. It just doesn't have all of the real-time failover in the QoS, because you cannot do that. You rely on the internet, so you're going to get best effort. But so you don't get all of it, but you still get some elements that are, wow, that's for what you pay for. It's really interesting, especially with SkySwitch. SkySwitch are our launch partner with that product, so they're having access to that as a privacy. They're the first ones that will have access to that technology in the world, and that will be released in Q1 next year.
It seems every day somebody new, somebody different is putting out an announcement, hey, we're selling SD-WAN now, we're doing this with SD-WAN, we're doing that. What does that say about the market?
Yeah, so absolutely right. Every MSP of significance out there and every CSP out there either has announced something about SD-WAN or is planning and announcing something about SD-WAN. And the reality is, you look at the connectivity services market, and 10 years from now, that's all there will be. There will be only SD-WAN. Nobody will use MPLS anymore, or it'll be vastly on the decline, and there might still be remnants of contracts that are there, but essentially that market will have significantly reduced in size. And most people that are relying on internet have come to the realization that if they are going to truly leverage the potential of digital services, that it cannot be just best effort. It has to be more than that, right? And I think we're going to see, and that's exactly what the market is telling us when you see that. And all analysts that are reporting numbers are showing that the growth numbers, the year-on-year growth this year was actually faster than what they anticipated last year. So we're definitely seeing a lot of momentum around SD-WAN. And frankly, that's why I am not worried with competitors. I'm only worried about our ability to execute with partners, defining the right partner relationship so that we can create the maximum amount of value for all the stakeholders, the end customers, the resellers of SkySwitch, and ourselves.
Well, that certainly sounds like a very healthy outlook. Thank you for joining me here today, and enjoy the rest of the week here at Vectors.
Pleasure. Have a good day as well.